Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona the Dawn, chapter 236, entitled Relic. Very straightforward, very simple title, and I hope you guys are enjoying the new sort of layout here, the new 2023 layout for future chapter reviews. You know, it actually took me a long time, I forget which corner because the camera slipped, but to find that little fun little graphic of Yona and Hawk in a comedic scene yelling at each other and stuff, because we only had one season, of course, of Yona. That is just blasphemy, but we only got the one season, so it was hard to find the graphic, but I think it sort of worked out. But this will be the new layout going forward so I hope you guys like it. That being out of the way, let's talk about chapter 236, because I like the chapter. I do have one or two issues with the chapter, or they're not really issues. They're just more of, I think this would have been better if A. I think that would have been better if B. I'm not saying that anything in this chapter is necessarily bad, but I was hoping for something a little different. Something maybe it was going to be too dark. I don't know. But anyways, this chapter is broken up basically into three different sections. So the first section we can get right out of the way. Pretty straightforward. Val confronts General Val confronts General Hye-ten, and Hye-ten is of course very. He admits to Val, like, I'm glad you're alive and all this stuff, and it's like, you're not really a traitor, are you? All the soldiers standing around, of course Hawk's there, and this basically goes down as Val and Hye-ten are going to fight, or as Hawk says, you need to talk to this person, you need to talk with your sword, sort of idea, right? So that's pretty much all that happens. They finally confront each other, they have this little talk about, no, I need to say, it's true, I aimed my sword at the Emperor, I aimed my sword and pointed my sword at Chao, and, you know, I need to take Mei Nian out of here. And, of course, Hye-ten, what I like about this is we get a little more influence into his character, or a little more knowledge anyway, maybe not influence, but that's the wrong word to use, but knowledge about his character, because he says that he can't be as carefree as Val. He says, I'm overjoyed to hear that you're actually here, that you're not dead, that you're alive, but what am I supposed to make out of this? You're now a traitor, you're now this, you're now that. Like, what am I supposed to do? My family is still in the capital. So, you know, like, you gotta feel for the man. You really gotta feel for the guy. Because, in general, he knows exactly what Chao Guo's all about. And he knows that if he says, well, I won't fight you, Val, clearly this is, you know, the Emperor's wrong and blah, 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 and I'll join your cause too. I'm going to flip sides too. He doesn't have that option. He doesn't have the luxury, and he fully states that. My family, my wife and kids or whatever, they're in the capital. What's going to happen to them if I turn traitor right here, right now? I can't. My hands are tied, so to speak. So I really like that. I like that aspect. It kept it simple, kept it brief, but it kept it simple, and it's only the first, as I said, out of 3 parts of the chapter. And it's not bad. We didn't need anything more than that. They're clearly gonna be clashing, and it is what it is. Alright, so that's moving along at a fine pace. Here's where problem number 1 comes into play, is the second part, in my opinion, the second part of the chapter. Because Yona is of course still in hiding, and she notices that there's the guards around the shed, yada yada yada, but they wander off. And she has this weird, strange feeling that there's something in that shed worth checking out. And who is it? Well, it's a corpse. It's somebody who's hung himself. No, it's not. Now, there is my problem, my first problem. We get a fake out here that I feel should have been what it initially was. It's a fake out, because what do we get in the next panel when Yona actually goes into the shed and stuff? She sees 2 feet just, and it's like, oh shit, and her shocked expression. And then the next page, or next panel, we see that it's of course General Kaji, who's been beaten black and blue by the Emperor. Fair enough. I would have honestly, this might be too dark, but I feel it would have worked better going forward that she actually found him hung. You know, and that was the thing. And then this is another reason for Haitian to even be wanting to make changes, and maybe Raren, and maybe he ends up switching sides. Like, no, really, like, you went that far, Chaogol and stuff, because they know even if they paint it as he committed suicide because he felt traitorous and all this stuff, he couldn't live with the dishonor, however they were going to paint the picture. I just feel like where the manga was getting so political earlier on in this arc, I feel like here's another perfect time or example that Chaogol could have used to his advantage and put the blame on the Koka Kingdom. The general was killed and butchered by these people. They tortured and hung him or something like that. Or he took his own life because he was a traitor and a coward and yada yada yada. It would fit completely within his character to do so. And I just feel like if they wanted to like paint Koka Kingdom as where there's doubt sort of seeping into the ranks, so to speak, this would have been a perfect opportunity for him to use that to the advantage. So the fact that we got the fake out, once again, as I said, this is more of a, we're going to have to see where this goes. Because what I find odd is that Kija here is Kaji, not Kija, sorry. Kaji, General Kaji here is basically the third wheel Val. Like, now we have two people that both have prior relationships with Mei Nian and stuff, and it feels completely doppelganger unnecessary. Val is already a bit of a hawk doppelganger, and then you're going to add this guy, just a not nearly as cool version of the same idea. Oh, wants to save Mei Nian from the clutches of Chaogol. Is it literally the same idea here, but with no actual real difference in the character drive or determination or where they stand? They're just all about Mei Nian for this reason, you know? Like you could literally swap the characters' positions right now and it wouldn't affect them as characters. It's literally the same drive. So I just don't see the potential for Kaji as a character to really go anywhere. Feels unnecessary. But given the unnecessity of the character, at least what I feel, finding him hung or dead or murdered would have added another element or subplot going forward. As I said, that's just my 2 cents right now, because I feel like a completely unnecessary, not necessarily a bad character, but an unnecessary character for the rest of the plot or the rest of the characters. If Kaji did not exist, the plot would be exactly the same. Nothing would have been different. Nothing would change at all. So I think that I'm trying to just give some importance to an otherwise not required or necessary character for the story or for the arc. But once again, depending now that they've teamed up, because what actually happens here in the chapter is that they team up, Yona and Kaji team up, they realize, oh, I'm here to save Mei Nian. Oh, well, so am I. Let me help, because Chaogol is here. I need to get Mei Nian away from Chaogol, yada, yada, yada. So, breaks him out, and Yona and Kaji have teamed up, basically joined forces. So, we'll have to see where that goes. Hopefully there is some deviation. Hopefully there is some level of importance or purpose to Kaji as a character. But we'll have to wait and see for that one, in all honesty. As I said, maybe I'm being too harsh on the character, but I just feel like literally has done nothing, is a bit of a second, like a prototype Val. Not even good enough to be a Val, because Mei Nian, of course, is more into Val than so not even the romantic interest or the love interest. The childhood friend, once again, taken by Val. Like, all the positions that this guy fills are already taken by Val. So there's very little purpose. So that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that we got this fake out, but I was kind of like, whoa. When I first saw the page, I said, wait a minute. We might get something interesting here. What the hell did Yona just discover? And then just for it to be like, oh no, he's fine. Like, he's beaten, but he's fine. It's like, oh, man. Like, I actually had some disappointment there. I thought we were going to go, whoa, we're going to a new avenue here. This should be interesting. So maybe I just and my expectations were a little high for that. Anyways, that's the second part of the chapter, and then the final part. The final part is one of the big ones, and here's my second problem. I'll just explain, you know, instead of like I just did the first section or the second section, I'll actually explain what happened, and then I'll talk about what I would have done different or what I don't like. Is the fact that, so the Dromos that escaped was not, of course, Chow-gol. Chow-gol is now revealed. The Dromos shows up and basically says, here you go. The other armies, the personal armies, were wiped out. It's like, take a sword, do this, do that. So Chow-gol's still being a dick, yada, yada, yada. Doesn't matter. The army is having a tough time dealing with the dragons. And, of course, Thunder Beast himself, Darkness Dragon 101. But here's what's interesting. First and foremost, I was fucking right. Let's just go there. I was right. They knew about the shrine, and what is underneath the shrine? Hideyo's body. There's the coffin. Now, the Dromos couldn't open it. Very interesting that. They were unable. They failed. They tried. They could not open it. I'm going to go off on a limb and say it's not because it was just too heavy. I'm going to go off on a limb and say that there's some type of magic or some type of seal that's binding, and they cannot disturb the rest of King Hideyo, right? So I'm going to go off on that line. That's pretty cool, but I was right. That is what's down there. But I'll only take a half point for being right, because that's not what they took. They didn't take the remains, the ashes, or the body of King Hideyo like I thought. So I get half a point. Yes, his body's down there. Yes, the coffin is down there, but that's not what was taken. So I only get about half a W. Half a W, ladies and gentlemen. What they actually took was the ceremonial goblet, or the chalice, the Holy Grail itself in this universe, that ended up, the dragons gave their blood, the humans gave their blood, the dragons blessed it, and they drank of the blood, and that's how 4 humans got dragon blood. I was really worried at first. I was extremely worried at this point. I said, oh no, Chow-gol's gonna become a dragon. Fuck off, fuck off. I thought if that's gonna happen, I might drop the series. If we're gonna go off on this whole anybody who stole the goddamn cup could have the powers of a dragon, and of course Chow-gol would be more powerful than Zeno or Hawk or anybody with the power. Like, I was worried. I don't know why I was worried, but I was very worried that that was going to be the case, that they were going to make more dragons. And I'm like, that is a terrible, that's even worse than Yona not believing in Hawk at the beginning of this arc. That is no. That would be the worst possible decision in the manga, to actually steal the powers and make more dragons for the enemy side. That would just break so many rules of storytelling for me. And the lore and what we've already established here in Yona the Dawn. So thankfully that doesn't seem to be the case, because they remarked that this is the special treasure and stuff. The Dromos even says the dragon sensed it because they pursued me ruthlessly and relentlessly to get here. I managed to escape. Zeno and them are still tracking, and Zeno even says, like, I'll heal while I run. We got to go, because this thing is what we need, and says this is what made us who we are. Now, Zeno is concerned, and here's my one big problem, or my other issue. My first issue, of course, I didn't like the fake out. I think it would have been better had Kaji been found hung and dead by Yona. That would be a little darker, but a lot more interesting. Here's my other problem with the chapter, is this scene. Because in this final scene here, yes, he's using, I'll make sure to pull it up here so I'm not paraphrasing here. I gotta click through, sorry, I was on another part. So, yeah, Zeno goes up, blah, 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 is that this is the treasure of the Koka Kingdom. It's beautiful. This is the vessel, according to the legends, the vessel of the dragons. This is the real thing because they pursued him. And he says pretty much, so, with the 4 dragons and Princess Yona, the vessel of blood, Koka's treasures are all in my domain. So, this is the interesting part. He says, now how will I break you, King Soo-won? That's the end part of the chapter. What I don't understand is, maybe Chow-gol believes that Soo-won, I think this is sort of a red herring. They're amping this up. Yes, of course, Zeno cares about this cup, but I don't think that he could do anything nefarious with it. This is my I don't think it's really much of an issue. I'm just curious how it's going to go. I really hope what's worrying me and my issue is this goblet got any magical properties? Is smashing the fucking thing going to kill the dragons? Is damaging it going to kill the dragon? Is it like holding their heart in the hand sort of idea? I don't want this to be the threat thing that holds this arc together for another, 3 years. I don't want, because Chagol has the goblet, the dragons have to turncoat, the dragons can't attack him, the dragons can't... That's too convenient, that's too plot devicey for me, and that's my big concern. And as a result of this scene, we're not given the information that is or is not the case, and that's what I don't like. I wish in this... I know they're trying to hype it up, but they could have left the hype while still saying, the Dromos or Chagol could have remarked, at this point, it's just a fucking cup. However, it's clearly important to them. Might not have any magic, but they want it and they want it back. So I wish we had gotten some type of indication that that's the case, because as I said, it's worrying me that this is either going to hold over their heads, they're going to turncoat, we're going to have another, 20 odd chapters of, oh, the dragons are on the wrong side, they don't have a choice, yada yada. We've already done that, and I don't want to repeat. And the other thing is, I don't want this thing to still have magical powers and create more dragons. I don't want Chagol to get a buff from this. I don't want any of that kind of shit. So that's my concern or issue with this last scene. Because I don't mind the ending scene where he's basically saying, okay, Yona's here in my camp infiltrated, the Red Princess, the dragons are here, and now I have the treasure of the Coca Kingdom Palace. How will I use all these things to my advantage, these factors? How will I use this all to my advantage to take down the king, Soo-won? Chagol is not aware that Soo-won likely gives less than no shits about this goddamn goblet. He gives he does not care, because remember, he trusts in man. He doesn't trust in myth and magic and legacy and dragons. He trusts in the people. He's got no time for the religion and stuff. So that's fine dandy, and I like that, because Chagol wouldn't know that. He would assume that Soo-won gave a shit. He wouldn't know that Soo-won doesn't. So I don't mind that Chagol is making a leap in assumption. It is a good assumption. Once again, if you're a king of a kingdom and you go into their most holy spot and take, it'd basically be like taking the Jesus crown or part of the cross that he was staked to or something like that. You would assume that the leader or the place you took that from would give a shit about the holiness or the holy artifacts, religious artifacts. There's no possible way for Chagol to know Soo-won doesn't care about that. The dragons do, Soo-won does not. So I don't mind that aspect, but I'm hoping at the end of the day, this is just a cup. It might have lingering magic, like for the dragons, but that's it. Like, that's why they were feeling so much better, because the vessel was near, the thing that made them, as Zeno states. I think it's got relevance to the dragons' waning or waxing health, but outside of that, it's not going to create more dragons. It's not going to do the turncoat thing for them. It's not going to do all those things that I was concerned with, right? That's what I'm hoping anyways. And once again, these are my only two issues with the chapter are these two little nitpicks. And I will say, they are nitpicks, because we don't know the direction that Yona and Kaji's adventures are going to take them in the next few chapters. I have no idea. Nobody has any idea yet other than the manga. So as a result, maybe that's a good direction. I'm concerned about the direction. I think there might have been a better option there, but we'll have to wait and see if I'm wrong. I could be wrong about that. And it's the same with this one. That's why I say I really liked the chapter. It was 3 parts. Short, sweet, to the point. Each part was relevant and interesting. I'm just concerned about the future, what direction this is going to lead into. I'm intrigued, but concerned, and that's where the two issues come from. One with the Kaji stuff, and 2 with how important is this chalice going to end up truly being. And how is Chagol going to use it, and am I going to be like, oh, really, we're doing that? So those are my only concerns. Outside of that, as I said, I really like the chapter. Hyaiten and Val squaring off makes a lot of sense. Yona and Kaji, that was whatever, as I said. And Chagol and the Dromos, learning, and us learning all this lore, finding out what they took, and the fact confirmed that Hiryu's body is in the shrine and they couldn't touch it, you know, all this stuff. So we got some good information. I think chapter 236 is solid. It's a little shorter, I felt, but it's solid. So anyways, what do you guys think? And gals, of course. Let me know down in the comment section. And with mentioning that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. We did not reach our milestone goal of getting 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022, but I'm very confident we can hit 1,000 no problem in the coming weeks and months. That should be no problem for all you lovely people to help me get there, to reach that 1,000 subscriber milestone, right? So thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time for the next chapter, chapter 237, supposedly coming out later on at the later half of January 20th, 21st, something like that. So look forward to that review as well as all my reviews, and we'll see you guys back here next time for the next chapter of Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn. Looking forward to it. Know you guys are too. Have a good one. See you later.